prop buffet. Give yourself an ample prop buffet, blanket 2 blocks on the firmer side if possible, or big books and a strap or dog leash, whatever you have available. And we're going to start standing up today. So stand anywhere on your mat. Take a moment to settle into your body. Remember that you are in a body, you have a body, you are a body. Notice where your feet meet the earth. And take a moment to create a somatic snapshot here. So how do you feel right now in this moment, particularly your relationship to gravity? So do you feel like you have a root and a rebound, which is to say, do you feel that you are firmly anchoring towards the earth in the lower body and lifting up towards the sky in the upper body? Or do you perhaps feel like it's all just a downward crush? I don't know, downward press of gravity. Do you feel more heavy? And take a snapshot of how you feel right now. File it away somewhere, and then make your way onto your back. Once you're on your back, bend the knees, wiggle the feet wide, and then place your arms comfortably, maybe out like wings, maybe above, like the TSA shape, and then drop your knees from side to side. Today we are tending to the psoas. The class will be called Psoas Above, Psoas Below. So if you ever need to remember what the psoas does or explain it to a friend or a stranger, you can remember that the psoas brings your below above and your above below. It flexes you together. And pause the rocking of the knees, heel toe the feet in towards hip distance. A couple options here to start are to start with your breath engagement and focus on creating that full robust breath. You could also engage in a little bit of psoas exploration. So I'm going to guide you through a little bit of palpation here. And remember to please put the pal in palpation. Be kind to yourself, be a friend to your body. So if you would like to go through the palpation and find where exactly this muscle is, then please place one hand onto your navel and then one hand onto a hip point. These are your 2 end ranges. Now walk one, maybe both hands towards the middle, so the place between the belly button and the hip point. And with an exhale, gently start to press in into the abdominal cavity towards the floor. Again, be a pal. Once you find a fairly deep resting spot, please avoid pain. Be gentle with yourself. You can even take one more full breath in and then out. And maybe with the exhale, you can get a little bit deeper into the abdominal cavity. And then on that same side that you're palpating, lift that same side knee up just a little bit. Just lift the knee towards the ceiling, and you'll likely feel something engage and pop up towards you. Maybe it's terrifying. It's okay. It's supposed to be there. It's not an alien. And then release, remove your hands from your abdominal cavity. And we'll just do the one side. If you'd like to do the other side, you're welcome to do that towards the end of class or on your own time. But I just want to give you a sense of just autonomy in your body to know where that thing is. And now find your blanket. You can roll over onto your side for this if you like, and roll up the blanket on its middle length. Place it onto the mat, across the mat, perpendicular, and then lower yourself down onto it with the tips of your shoulder blades on the blanket roll. Make sure that you are arranged in such a way that the tops of the shoulders, or the shoulder heads, can relax onto the earth, that they are not hovering up off of the floor. And then you could take your arms out to the sides, maybe bend the elbows. And here is where we will engage all together with the breathing practice. As you inhale, fill the belly and then fill the chest. And then exhale, empty the breath back out from top to bottom. Keep going, full, smooth breaths. Begin to create more inner space. By creating this little back bend, we're moving the rib cage away from the hips, and in this way inviting in a passive stretch to the psoas. And I'll mention it just as a disclaimer that if any unsuspected emotions arise in this class, as it may in absolutely any yoga, exercise, or movement class, be gentle and patient with yourself. Be kind to yourself. And I'll mention it only specifically within the psoas because a lot of cellular material and information gets stored up in the psoas. When we are startled, when there's a big T or little t trauma, the psoas is the first muscle to get a fairly large dose of adrenaline. It's the muscle that is going to activate first for us to run away, activate first for us to curl up into a protective position. So it makes sense that, maybe if we are startled while we're in the car, we get that blast of adrenaline into the psoas, but it can't go anywhere. We're not going to run, we're not going to curl up, right? We just kind of stay there, so things get kind of stuck. Take another full breath in. Full breath out. And then roll over slowly enough so that you can slide the blanket out from underneath of you. And then come onto a knees bent position. Bend the knees, in other words. Place the feet under the knees. And now reach the tailbone and the sitting bones towards your heels. And now keeping the low back as one piece. So instead of lifting the tailbone and then kind of curling the spine up, one vertebra at a time, lift the whole low back up as one piece and come into a low bridge. So not your highest bridge, not trying to lift the hips up as high as you can. Instead, staying kind of at like a middle point, and then reach the sitting bones and the tailbones forward. Hold and bring in your breath. So before we do any more stretching of the psoas, I would like for us, as we're doing now, to bring in some strengthening impulse into the low back. For many of us, the psoas can take on a lot of the actions that would ideally be performed by the low back, the quadratus lumborum, and other supportive musculature. But that part of the body might be a little bit on the weaker side. Unfortunately, our bodies self-organize so that if something's not prepared to take on that load, something else will. So before we lengthen the psoas, we'll work on strengthening the low back here so that we don't stand up and instantly fall down like newborn foals. Take another full breath in. And then exhale, lower down. Find a block and have your strap within reach. Press the feet down, lift the feet up, and then slide the block on its lowest setting underneath your sacrum. Unroll your lasso, and then loop it around your right foot. And then reach the right foot towards the ceiling, or really just wherever, whatever landmark is relevant to you. Work the leg towards straight. We're not focusing on hamstring here, so the knee is absolutely fine to be bent. Either place the strap around the ball of the foot. That is likely going to create more sensation and more stretch in the calf. If you are experiencing any SI joint instability or dysfunction, you may opt to put the strap around the heel. And instead of drawing the leg in towards the face, pull the leg down. So whatever angle the leg is at with relation to the hip, pull that, create a vector that draws the leg more fully into the hip joint. And then once you've established that directionality of drawing the leg into the hip joint, then extend the left leg down the mat. Slightly roll the left leg in, especially if the leg is tempted to flop out to the side. Roll it in towards the midline of the body and continue to reach the left heel away. And take a few more cycles of breath here. How about just one more round of breath here? Reach the left heel away. Bend the left knee, place the foot on the ground, and then remove the strap from the right foot. Bend that leg, place it down, and head right into the second side. So loop the strap around the left foot, either the ball of the foot or the heel, depending on what you are prioritizing right now. And the two sides of the body might be different. So you have that knowledge about your body, and please act on it accordingly. And then walk your hands up the strap and pull on the strap, reinforcing a downward drawing of the entire leg deeper into the hip socket. And once that's established, extend the right leg down the mat. Slightly internally rotate the right leg. And then keep reaching through the right heel. Like you could keep creeping it closer and closer to the far edge of your mat. Stay here for a couple more breaths. One more full cycle of breath, please. Stretch the right heel away from you, and then bend the right knee, slide the foot back onto the mat, remove the strap, bend that leg, press into your feet to lift your hips up and slide the block out of your way, and then roll over onto your side, make your way to hands and knees, maybe with a blanket under the kneecaps. And then once you are in quadruped position, take a few cycles of good old cat-cow. Either move through your cat-cows in quite a leisurely and casual way, if that's what your body is most wanting to do today. The other approach to take to our cat-cow, just for today, maybe other days also, is to get to the 2/3 end range of either cat or cow. Notice what part of your spine there is maybe the least amount of sensation, the least amount of mobility, or maybe the most amount of stiffness. And then bring your awareness into that place. Finish the pose with your focus on creating more movement in that place where maybe there's a little bit of restriction normally. And then go towards the other end of the shape, 2/3 of the way. Seek out the place in the body where there is the most stiffness, restriction, least movement. Bring your awareness to that place, and then finish the pose with focusing on that little spot. And then if you're doing the extra homework version, let your last couple rounds of cat-cow be the more casual kinds. At the end of your next exhalation, make your way back to a neutral spine in tabletop position. Sit back for a moment long enough to circle out the wrists, maybe with the hands together. Make any movements that just give a little gesture of friendliness to the wrists and say, I hear ya, we've been there for a little while. Let's do something different before we do it again. Back to hands and knees, please. Tuck the toes under and make your way into downward facing dog. Create a stable downward facing dog, and that may mean so many things. If you have 2 blocks and you know this is something that you like, you could put the blocks under your hands. That's going to make your hamstrings and maybe your shoulders a little bit happier. Make any other adjustments, and let's head into our simple flow. So as you inhale, lower the knees to the mat. Exhale back to child's pose. Inhale forward to hands and knees. Exhale, down dog. Keep going. Use the movements, the transitions, and the pauses as tools to anchor the breath into the body. You're also free to just enjoy any other more restful postures here. If you're craving more movement today, this is your opportunity to really move and wiggle. So give yourself that chance if that's what you're needing. Many of the poses that we'll be in moving through the rest of class are going to be longer held poses because of the Psoas' preference to be invited into stretches rather than coerced or forced. So we don't want to bring velocity into the shapes. We want to make sure that we have enough time to settle and really soften in rather than exert force. Take just a couple more cycles or a couple more rounds of breath in whatever shape you've chosen to be in. We'll meet in down dog. From your down dog, step the feet wide to the edges of the mat, bend the knees, and walk your hands in towards your feet, and drape the upper body over your legs. Can you relax your belly even more towards your thighs? Can you allow the shoulders and the arms, the brain to be heavier? Bring your hands to your shins and inhale, stretch the crown of your head forward. Exhale, fold inward any amount. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold forward. One more time. Fill with breath. Stretch the spine forward. Broaden the lungs all the way. And then open the mouth, empty the breath, fold forward. Bend the knees generously. Relax the head, spine, shoulders, arms, everything, and then roll yourself up the spine. Once the head is up, inhale and circle the arms up. And exhale, bring the hands together in front of your heart. Step the feet in towards hip distance. And if you've got a blanket in front of you, kick it out of your way a little bit. And then step the right foot forward. Doesn't have to be a huge step. Somewhere between a huge step and a small step. That's where you want to be. And then with an inhale, reach the arms up. And then catch a hold of your left wrist with the right hand. And then exhale, slightly lean towards your right, giving a gentle tug on the arm. Stay here for a breath or two. Inhale one more time. And then exhale, bring yourself slowly upright and lower the arms. Step your front foot back. Inhale, circle both arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach wide, press down into the feet, maybe a little bend into the knees. Stand all the way up. Exhale, hands to prayer. Step forward with the left foot. Inhale, reach up. Catch a hold of the right wrist. And exhale, lean towards the left like you're arcing up and over something. So gently tug on the arm at the wrist and stay here for a few breaths. Inhale fully. And then exhale, gently bring yourself back up and circle the hands to prayer. Step back. Inhale, reach both arms up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, press into the feet, maybe bend the knees, stand all the way up with an in-breath. Exhale, hands to prayer. Take a moment now to notice how you feel in relationship to gravity. And then make your way to the top of your mat. Get the blanket out of your way. And I'm going to give you some options coming up, so stay tuned for those. Place the feet at hip distance apart. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Step onto your right foot and then take the left foot back. Land in a long runner's lunge. Here is where we start with our options. So if long runner's lunge is feeling great to you, then you could stay here, creating some buoyancy in the hips, sensing in, maybe going into a low lunge. Hands, arms can do whatever you want. You could come up into a crescent lunge. If you would like more strengthening work in the legs, that could be your option. If you would like to engage with strength, balance, and psoas stretch, then stay here in the crescent lunge. Catch a hold of the left wrist with the right hand, and then again, lift up, and then side bend towards the left, just slightly like you're arcing up over a hurdle. This can also be done with the back knee down. These are your options. Only thing not optional is the breath. Take another full breath in. If you're arced over, with your exhale, come upright. And then take the hands to the mat. Tuck the back toes under if they aren't already, and bring the back foot carefully in to meet the right foot. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach wide, stand up, maybe bending the knees. Exhale, hands to prayer. Inhale, sweep both arms up. Exhale, dive forward. Inhale, lift the chest, fill the lungs. Exhale, forward fold. Press your left foot down and step the right foot back. Options on this side are the same, so maybe long runner's lunge, kind of noodling around here. Maybe you lift the upper body and the arms up into a crescent lunge. Maybe bring some side stretch into it, and psoas stretch by holding onto the right wrist and arcing yourself to the left. And maybe doing that while the back knee is down. Take another full breath in. Exhale, bring yourself upright. Take the hands to the mat. And then step all the way back into a high plank. So place the knees down for a moment while I talk at you. If you would like to stay soft in the body and really prioritize that softening around the middle, then choose a resting posture that works for you. If you came here for what we usually do, which is a pretty strength-based practice, then choose this option instead of coming into plank with knees up or down, and then engage loops of effort. So from your inner armpit to the thumb, press down. Imagine a loop of effort wrapping under the hands, and then draw it up. So pull up from the outer pinky edge side of the hands to the outer armpit. In the low body, same thing. Extend a loop of effort from the pubic bone down through the inner legs to the inner ankles. Loop it around the foot, and then draw up from the outer ankle to the outer hip. And then whatever you have going on, slowly lower yourself all the way down onto the belly. Untuck the toes. Inhale, reach the breastbone forward and up into cobra. Exhale, lower down. One more time, up to cobra. Exhale, lower. Downward facing dog. Inhale, lift the heels, look forward. And exhale, make your way to the top of your mat. Inhale, lift halfway. Exhale, fold. Inhale, reach wide, stand up. Exhale, hands to prayer. Now figure out where you put your blocks. If you have 2 blocks, have both available. And bring yourself close to something that can support your balance. So a wall, walls are good, or like the arm of a sofa, also good. I'm going to use this credenza. And so place the block near your balancing support. Step onto it. We'll start with the right foot. So step onto your block. Use your whatever for balance. If you have a larger foot and you have multiple blocks available, then you could slide one in front of the other and create a longer base. If you'd like to be up higher, like if it feels like your foot's going to scuff the floor, then you could stack one block on the other. I'm going to choose to just use the one. Start to swing the loose leg. You can let the arm swing opposite, or you could anchor it on the hip, whatever feels best to you. Give yourself room to swing the leg without fear that you're going to be kicking something. That could be a real inhibiting and inwardly inhibiting factor if you are feeling overly vigilant to your surroundings. This is the time to unwind that vigilance, not create more of it. Keep swinging the leg, keep breathing. If you would like to make this a balance exercise rather than than prioritizing psoas release, then you could not use your balancing thing. You could even take your block farther away from the wall or furniture and swing both arms, swing the leg. And look at that, now you got a whole new balance challenge. I'm going to personally focus on my psoas because I don't do this nearly enough. Keep swinging the leg. Make it feel heavy. Make the leg feel heavy, like you're just swinging around a bag of wet sand. Like you would usually do on a Thursday. And then let the swinging of your leg naturally move towards inert. Slow it down, let it stop on its own. And take a couple cycles of breath here, supporting yourself on the right side, but completely surrender the left half of the body. So like imagine that the left half of the body were very warm wax, and it could just drip right off and onto the floor. And then carefully step off of your block. Place the feet side by side and just notice one side to the other. Notice one leg, the other, and then the other. Notice one footprint and then the other. Observe any differences. And then turn around and change sides. Step onto the block with your left foot. Support yourself as you'd like, and then commence the swinging wildly. So we are unwinding, inviting the unwinding of patterns of tension and holding. In the Psoas, inviting the release or integration of energy or information that is collected from moments of stress. I wonder if this is the origin of the very common yoga teacher saying that emotions are stored in the hips. It's something that it sounds really great, and most of us say, it sounds really great. I'm not going to look into that at all. I'm just going to say it. That's good enough. And I think that is fine, because I believe there is I don't believe there is some truth in that. This area can become very, very charged, and if you have your own mystical interpretation of the hips, mystical relationship to the hips, then I totally leave that up to your own personal journey and experience. If you want to do the balance now, do the balance. You could do this if you've got a stoop on that last step. You can hold on to the railing and take some time to swing your leg off of a stair. And we could definitely do this for a lot longer, but we won't. So please pause the leg, allow it to swing back into a resting state. And then imagine that side of the body becoming very soft and heavy. Take one more cycle of breath here. And then step down. Carefully place the feet side by side, and then inwardly check out the lower body. The legs from the hips down. Notice the footprint. And now connect to your inner body in a way that allows you to assess your relationship to gravity. And then place it next to the snapshot that you took of your body at the beginning of class. How do you feel now? Do you feel any different? Are you finding that you feel like there's a root and a rebound, that you're grounded through the lower body and lifted through the upper body? Or do you still feel that you're mostly downwardly oriented, which could make sense also depending on what time of the day it is for you? The more time we spend upright against gravity, the more it literally does have a compacting effect on our structures. Just notice if standing feels any different. Do you feel any taller or about the same? And then make your way to the top of your mat. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, lift halfway. Reach the spine forward. Exhale, fold. Step 2, downward facing dog. And then place the knees down. Bring yourself into a comfortable seated position. which could mean absolutely anything, but do achieve comfort for yourself. And then with one hand, indicate the number 5. And then with the other hand, indicate the number 1. And then point at the 5. Here we go with our countdown. As you're ready, make the 5 hand your pointer finger, point, count down, 4 as you switch hands, point 3, switch hands, point 2, switch, point 1, and then count up. So point 2, switch, point 3, point 4, point 5, count down, keep going, and set yourself up for success here. So that could mean, really going at your own pace, taking it very slow and easy. This could mean looking at the hands and the fingers to make sure that you are, in fact, doing what you think that you're doing or what you're trying to do. It's my understanding of myself and of other humans that the more we feel successful doing an activity, the more likely we are to repeat it. So as we begin with this brain hemisphere challenging exercise, really be a bud to yourself and do what it takes to set yourself up well. As you start to build those neuro grooves, you can begin to add in more challenge, whatever that means to you. Maybe it's no longer looking at the fingers, maybe it's going faster. No one's grading you either. I would suggest that you maybe even not even grade yourself. We'll keep going for just a little bit longer here. Getting more and more familiar. Maybe I always surprise myself the moment I think I'm really in the groove, that I'm like, all right, 3, and a 4 pops up. You know, I don't even know what's going on with this hand right now. How about count down one more time? So until you're at 2, you're pointing at a 1, like that. And then when you're done with that, shake out your hands, give yourself a little wiggle out. Give yourself a pat on the back if you like. And then make your way down onto that back. Place the feet underneath the knees, and let's return to the low back. You know what, I'm going to leave this bridge pose up to you, however you want to approach the bridge pose. So maybe that is putting the hips onto a block. Maybe it's coming into a more back bendy bridge pose. Maybe it's that low back focused bridge pose where you come up just about midway and then reach the tailbone and the sitting bones towards the far side of your mat. Take another full breath in. A full breath out as you lower down. And then roll over onto your belly. Place your forearms down onto the mat, elbows under the shoulders. Press the tops of your feet down into the floor, and then reach your breastbone forward between the shoulders. Find your breath. Can you keep lengthening, reaching forward more and more? Maybe with the inhale, you soften. And then exhale, reach the breastbone forward more. You could even walk the fingertips forward and come up onto the fingertips. One last little psoas lengthening thing. If coming up onto the fingertips puts too much load into the low back, stay onto the forearms. One more full breath in here. One more full breath out here. Reach the chest forward. And then lower down. Roll onto the back. Draw the knees in towards the chest. Drop the knees to the left, open the right arm out to the side. Inhale fully. Exhale to bring your knees through center, and then roll the knees to the right, left arm out to the opposite side. Take your fullest breath in all day. Exhale, bring the knees to center. And then extend the legs long. And set yourself up for final relaxation. If you'd like a little more tending to the psoas, our deepest hip flexor and spinal flexor, then you could return to the blanket roll that we used at the beginning of class. Put it across the mat and then ease the tips of your shoulder blades onto the blanket. Imagine the back surface of your body, dense, soft, heavy, like maybe brownie batter, or a very rich, extra fudgy brownie. Keep connecting to that sense of soft, heavy, softening down towards the earth. imagine the front surface of your body very light, like a light dusting of confectioner's sugar, maybe so light that some of it's floating up into the air. Begin to take some fuller breaths. Keep connecting to the sense of heaviness, denseness, softness, and this also sense of lightness. And use the breath to connect everything in between. Introduce some gentle movement into the body. Stay heavy and stay light as you roll yourself onto your side with the knees bent. And then ease yourself up into a seat. Bring the hands together in front of your heart and rub them together. Place one hand onto your heart and the other hand onto your belly. And offer yourself a gesture of sweetness. Thank you.